Good morning, this is Ron with the Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We're coming to you with a special update from Los Angeles, update on the fire in Los Angeles, and update from the local officials on the fire lines in Los Angeles, and also an update from the local officials as to fire recovery in Los Angeles, including a FEMA briefing. So with this, I'm going to turn this over to KCAL Los Angeles with their briefing. I ask everybody now to please pay attention and take notes, especially if you are involved in Los Angeles or you have family members there. Please take notes.
Paul?
Hey guys, it's going to be extremely windy later on this morning and this afternoon. I believe the next hour, right now through about 9 o'clock, 1 hour where the winds will be as calm as they're going to be all day long. That is right now. Simi Valley, 35 miles per hour, Santa Clarita 32, Camarillo 31 miles per hour, and 18 miles per hour in Riverside. It is right about now that the winds will begin to ramp up. That press conference has just begun, so guys, we're heading back to you.
Destroyed. And we have 3,235 firefighting personnel assigned to the incident. 30% of our damage inspections for the Eaton fire have been completed. Impacted residents may visit recovery.lacounty.gov to view maps showing damage assessments. Please note that the maps are being updated daily. Severe fire weather conditions will continue through tomorrow. The worst winds are predicted today for the late afternoon and into Wednesday. Please be assured that the Los Angeles County region is prepared. The anticipated winds, combined with low humidities and low fuel moistures, will keep the fire threat in the LA region critical. I ask all Los Angeles County residents in wildfire-prone areas to understand that the necessary public safety power shutoffs are going to prevent our next fire from starting if we have down power lines. I know that this is a challenge, but it is necessary for our collective safety. I ask that our unhoused neighbors not have warming fires. Anybody who's a person experiencing homelessness should be seeking shelter through the County of Los Angeles or the City of Los Angeles. Additionally, we have checked the water system in the Eaton fire area, and it is operational, meaning that we have water and we have pressure. Repopulation will not occur until all areas are safe, period. Resources are available for residents impacted by wildfire at lacounty.gov/emergency. And I'm happy to report that the LA County CL-415 Super Scooper that was damaged by the drone will be available for response starting at 11 a.m. today. Lastly, I ask all residents in the fire danger areas to develop your own wildfire preparedness plan. Go to fire.lacounty.gov/RSG for Ready, Set, Go, and get set to leave early if you receive an evacuation warning or order. And please, double check to make sure that your cellular device does not have your emergency alerts silenced. I would now like to introduce Jerry Magana, Deputy IC, CAL FIRE, Incident Management Team 2.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. My name is Jeremy Gagne, representing the incident management teams for the Palisades and Eaton Fire. I just wanted to once again thank the partners and cooperators for all of their continued teamwork with these incidents. We couldn't do it without each other and without the support of the community. As mentioned, for both fires, I just wanted to continue to stress the fact that it is important that the public stay informed on the process and what is happening each day on these incidents. With all of the press briefings that are given, a ton of information is being put out there. Just please make sure that you are aware of the information for your impacted area. As a whole, for both incidents, DINS inspections continue and will be thoroughly processed to get the latest information out to you so that you have the ability to gather that information and move forward within your process. USAR operations continue for both incidents, and we will continue to update our cooperators and partners with the latest and greatest information. And today you'll also be hearing about the disaster recovery centers that are being opened, more detail to follow, but we just wanted to make sure that you as the public are getting all the information that you need to move forward in the process, and that all of us up here on this stage are working together for you to get you the information that you need. Please stay patient with our process. We will get you in as soon as we can. Thank you.
Chief Crowley. Yeah, Chief Crowley. Sorry about that. Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone. Kristen Crowley, Los Angeles City Fire Department Fire Chief. Mayor Batts and I recently conducted an aerial survey of the impacted areas. Our focus was on evaluating the size, the scope, and the complexity of these fires to gain a full understanding of its total impact on our communities. This assessment was essential as we begin planning and prioritizing resources and support needed to make sure that we can facilitate in the recovery efforts here and now. Our goal is to address both the immediate challenges and the long-term needs of those infected by these devastating events. Yesterday, I also had the opportunity to meet with our international partners from Mexico to express our heartfelt gratitude for their assistance. The outpouring of support from both near and far, I tell you, is absolutely remarkable. I also had the opportunity just to take a moment to talk with people, and I cannot tell you how many times everybody has been asking about our firefighters and our first responders, and they're asking, how are they holding up? I visited our field resources, the Emergency Operations Center, our Department Operations Center, and I tell you, our firefighters and first responders are standing strong. They hold their heads up high, and they will continue to work hard for you. Thank you for your care and concern, and I tell you, our thoughts and prayers holistically are with everybody that has been impacted by these fires. I will now provide just a brief update on the Palisades fire. This fire is now at 23,713 acres with 17% containment, with 5,200 personnel that are assigned to the incident. Firefighters will continue to work tirelessly throughout the day to increase containment lines, prevent further spread, and address any flare-ups. The Hearst fire, 799 acres at 97% contained. Now, to all of those who have lost so much and to those who still have not returned to your homes, know that everybody involved in this incident in the Los Angeles region is focused on you. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the community that has given so much back to those impacted as well as to our LAFD. And thank you to the LAFD Foundation that provides vital equipment and funds critical. They fund critical programs, tools, and equipment to help the LAFD save lives and protect property. You heard Chief Maroney say it already, but I think it's very, very important that I reiterate these points. Life-threatening and destructive and widespread winds are already here. For this significant wind event, we are taking an aggressive lean-forward posture, and the LAFD has staffed all available resources, strategically placing fire patrols and engines in the unimpacted high fire risk areas in the city. We are carefully managing our operations to ensure that we can quickly respond to any new fires, in addition to the increased call volume across the city of Los Angeles. I urge, and everybody here urges you to remain alert, as danger has not yet passed. Please follow all evacuation warnings and orders without delay and prioritize your safety. Thank you. I would like now to introduce our next speaker, Los Angeles County Sheriff Luna.
Good morning, and thank you, Chief. Our Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department personnel deployment stands at approximately 1,300 this morning. And again, remember, we are working different incidences throughout the county, primarily the Palisades fire for the county portion of it, and then the Eaton fire as well. Many of our deputies haven't had days off. They're on 12-hour shifts, so I really appreciate all their work and their time away from their family. We have approximately 234 officers from the California Highway Patrol. Sean DeRee, the commissioner of the CHP, was kind enough to give us more bodies as of yesterday. We also are being assisted by 16 agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration, and they're not working narcotics. They are here assisting us, and we're getting calls from a lot of our law enforcement partners, so we're very grateful that they're here to assist us. We have well over 600 National Guards personnel that are deployed to not only the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department areas of responsibility, but the Los Angeles Police Department, Pasadena, Santa Monica, and other places as well. Evacuation orders, we have approximately 88,000 residents that are still under evacuation orders, and regarding evacuation warnings, we have approximately 84,800 residents that continue to be under warnings. There is a decrease in these numbers, but as our fire partners have stated, it is still very dangerous for the next 24 hours. So we're keeping a very close eye, and that's why we have not downgraded the number of personnel. If fire tells us you've got to go here because the wind's blowing this way and we need to do evacuations, that's where we are going. I just want to remind everybody that the last time we had to evacuate people under an order, our deputies very heroically saved many people's lives, and they had to rescue people, and a lot of the people that were rescuing who waited till the last minute to leave the order or the evacuation order, many of them had significant burns on them. I just want to reiterate that when we're giving you warnings, that's the time you should probably think about going. Actually, we recommend you go. Don't wait till the order's given. We don't want you to impact your own life or the life of your loved ones. Repopulation conversations are absolutely active and ongoing. I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want people to start thinking everything's okay now. Everything's not okay yet. We'll get there. We'll get there together. But again, the wind's blowing and it's going to continue to blow. Curfew is still in effect. It was in effect last night. It's going to be in effect tonight again, starting at 6 p.m. all the way to 6 a.m. This is for the impacted evacuation order areas. If you do not live there, have any business there, say this every day, don't go. Why am I repeating it? Because we continue to make arrests for this violation. I don't want to make more arrests, so please stay away from there. We understand that our residents want to go back to their homes, but this is a disaster area. Chief Maroney mentioned it. As soon as it is rendered safe, we will try and prioritize getting you back home. We understand that is important. Regarding arrest, we had a few more arrests overnight. Our total, when I give totals, this is for the LA County Sheriff's Department area only. It doesn't count LAPD, Pasadena, and other agencies. We are up to 39. That's 33 in the Eaton fire area and 6 in the Palisades area. Eaton, we have 9 curfew arrests and 2 for drone incidences. Please do not fly drones in these impacted areas. And 11 were for burglary in that Eaton area. For Palisades, we have 6 arrests, 3 for curfew, and 3 for burglary. Last night's total arrest, 1 arrest for curfew violation and carrying a loaded weapon. Again, I'm repeating this, and it keeps on happening. If you are carrying narcotics and a gun, you shouldn't do it anyways. You shouldn't absolutely go into these evacuation order areas where there's a curfew with those items, because you are likely going to get arrested by our deputies. They're being very proactive, and you're going to get arrested. Blue-collar versus white-collar crimes. You've heard it over and over. We're not just looking for burglars and looters committing crimes on the street, but we're also focused on anybody who's involved in any kind of scam, whether you're asking for donations for pets or whatever you think you're doing to make money off of the poor people who've been involved. We're telling you, don't do it. If you think you're a victim of this, notify us immediately. Moving on, search and rescue operations. Based on our grid searches, this is information that when we concluded last night with our search and rescue teams, we have searched approximately 3,654 properties in the Altadena area thus far. Yesterday, we searched 1,800 properties in Eaton, and we also have been working with teams that are coming in to work on the Palisades to begin searching for remains as well. So this operation continues. It's active, not easy work, and the good news was that no other remains were found yesterday. Hopefully that happens again today. We don't want the death toll to continue to go up, so the death toll stands at 21 for the sheriff's areas. Does not include LAPD or Pasadena. That is a total of 16 in Eaton and 5 in the Palisades. We are actively working 24 missing person cases, 18 in the Eaton area, 6 in the Malibu area, all adults. As I conclude, to get any updated information, LACounty.gov for emergencies. That is updating on evacuation orders, evacuation warnings, road closures, and for all of our community members who desperately want to get back into their houses, as we back off of orders in the warnings, look at that website. That'll give you the most updated information. And donations, Emergency Network Los Angeles. I continue to be absolutely amazed with our community. All the positives, they want to donate, they want to help. That's where you go. Thank you very much. And I'm introducing the Los Angeles Police Chief, Jim McDonald. Oh, before you come up, just one quick thing, because I'm being asked this question. If a lot of you are concerned seeing police cars up and down our freeways and their lights and siren on, don't let that alarm you. Whether it's sheriff cars, LAPD cars, CHP cars, we're responding in tandem as they're being requested by the incident commanders to respond to several different locations. Those are your tax dollars at work, our men and women working their butts off. They're getting to one place to another as quickly and as safely as possible. Now Jim McDonald's coming up.
Thank you. Sorry, Jim.
It's okay. Well, good morning. I just want to let everyone know that as we enter into another period of dangerously high winds, we remain deployed and ready to assist with any additional evacuations should that need arise. While peak winds are not expected to be as strong as last week's wind event, they still pose a tremendous threat. And if you're asked to evacuate, please listen to all evacuation orders, as they are meant as a life-saving measure. As has been the case over the last few days, LAPD is focused on maintaining your safety and the safety of your properties as we move forward. As far as deployment goes, LAPD officers are still performing increased patrols in the areas impacted by the fires, and we ask for your continued cooperation, especially with our officers who deployed at various checkpoints throughout the evacuation zones. We understand the frustration and your desire to see your homes firsthand, but until CAL FIRE tells us that the impacted areas are safe for repopulation, we can't allow you to return. For the upcoming 24-hour period, LAPD will continue to deploy approximately 750 officers to the impacted areas with support from Los Angeles Airport Police, Port Police, and the National Guard. They have 200 soldiers assigned to the Palisades event, and we're certainly grateful for their support. We're supporting the fire area with these badly needed resources while continuing to respond to calls throughout the city. I'd like to thank our LAPD officers and everybody who's represented by those who are standing here today, who are working on overtime away from their homes and families, going the extra mile to keep Los Angeles safe. On the missing persons front, we're still actively investigating all reports of missing persons and have dedicated resources to these efforts. As of this morning, we have 34 people reported missing. 21 of them have been found safe. Of the 13 remaining, 2 have most likely been found deceased but have yet to be positively identified. 11 remain unaccounted for. In total, 3 fatalities that are fire-related. 1 fatality died at a hospital but was not reported missing. On the arrest front, we've made 14 arrests. Failure to obey curfew were 3 of those, impersonating an officer 1, impersonating a firefighter another, unauthorized entry to a closed emergency area 2, DUI 1, vandalism 1, possession of ammunition and burglary tools another 1, burglary 2, and conspiracy to commit burglary 2 additional. We have 3 noteworthy arrests throughout the, although outside the fire zone, very significant to our efforts as we continue to battle fires that threaten our community. On Sunday night, our North Hollywood officers responded to a call of a possible arson suspect who was using a barbecue lighter to light fires. Officers arrived on the scene and the suspect was arrested for an outstanding felony warrant for arson and booked into Van Nuys Jail. On Monday, 2 additional arrests related to the fires. The first took place at 5700 Van Nuys Boulevard at approximately 16:30 hours. Our West Valley officers responded to a radio call for an arson suspect who had ignited a nearby brush. Upon arrival, LAFD was at scene extinguishing the fire and directed the officers to the possible suspect, who was taken into custody there. The suspect was booked for arson, again at Van Nuys Jail. Our second arrest took place at 11820 San Vicente Boulevard in West LA area. Officers responded to a radio call of an arson suspect at the location who had ignited a nearby trash can, which was extinguished by the LA City Fire Department. Citizens directed the officers to the suspect location, where he was then taken into custody without incident. Video from local businesses showed footage of the suspect starting fires in that area. He was booked into our jail for arson. On looting front, excuse me. Looting is not just a crime against property, it also takes away any sense of security from evacuated residents, and certainly it's not being tolerated at all. LAPD officers are working around the clock to prevent looting in impacted areas and will identify and apprehend those responsible. However, we cannot do this alone. We need your help. And as you heard from the accounts I gave you, it was residents of our city and county who have stepped forward, made observations of people lighting fires, called the police, we responded, and were able to take them off the street. So thank you for those who have been involved in that, and I ask for your vigilance for as we move forward. We're asking all members of our community to join us in this effort by reviewing your personal security footage, whether from Ring cameras, home security systems, or any other recording devices. Even seemingly small details can make a big difference in our ongoing investigations. If you notice anything suspicious or potentially connected to these incidents, please report it to us immediately, and you can do so anonymously through Crime Stoppers by calling the LA Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or by visiting LACrimestoppers.org. You can also provide information regarding the Palisades fire by submitting tips by texting ATFLA to 63975 and then follow the link to be able to create a report. Our collective safety depends on the partnership between police and our community. Together we can ensure that those responsible for these crimes are brought to justice and that our neighborhoods remain safe. Sheriff Luna talked about the curfew. Likewise in the city, the curfew order will remain in place tonight from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and unless you're public safety personnel or disaster workers, you have no business being at these locations. And if you are in those areas, you are subject to arrest. As I mentioned, we've already made a number of arrests for individuals who are not listening to these orders, and we want to be very clear about that we will find you if you're out there and you will be arrested. Please allow our teams to focus on the recovery efforts. Enforcing a curfew helps us identify individuals who have no businesses in these areas and also protects public safety personnel who are operating in darkness and often very, very difficult conditions. In closing, I want to reiterate that our department is committed to the recovery efforts, and for however long that will take, we will continue to work alongside our other partners to make sure that our community has the resources that you need to recover and ultimately rebuild. Thank you for your patience and cooperation during this difficult time. Now I'd like to introduce LA County Public Health Chief Deputy Director, Dr. Anish Mahajan. Doctor.
Good morning, Anish Mahajan, LA County Department of Public Health. I want to begin by sharing our heartfelt condolences and extending our deepest sympathies to those who have lost their homes and endured profound devastation caused by the fires. Please remember that you are not alone, and we stand with you during this incredibly challenging time. To our first responders, we are deeply thankful for your remarkable courage and relentless efforts in the face of such overwhelming adversity. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge each of our county supervisors, as well as the mayor, for their steadfast commitment and compassionate guidance, as well as the county and city fire departments, along with the many partners whose exceptional teamwork has been invaluable during these difficult times. Now, the impact of the wildfires has been far-reaching, leaving individuals and families not only grappling with the losses of their homes and cherished belongings, but also facing urgent health and medical challenges. Many have been displaced, separated from their usual healthcare providers, and are in need of essential medications. In response, Public Health will be establishing a Medication Access Assistance Service Center at each of the disaster recovery centers starting today. There will be 4 to 5 nurses and 1 physician from each site from Public Health, along with a paramedic team from EMS. Nurses at the sites will assist families with information, education, referrals for clinical health concerns, including getting access to medications for those who lost their medications in the fire by helping them connect with their pharmacy or their usual provider. If refills are unavailable or if they face challenges in connecting, the nurses at each site will connect with the physicians and pharmacists that we have at the Department of Public Health telehealth service to provide new prescriptions to bridge families until they can connect with their usual source of care. For patients needing assistance with treatment for opioid addiction, the Medical Assist Therapy, the MAT consult line at 213-288-9090, that's 213-288-9090, is able to offer these prescriptions and operates 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to midnight. I'd also like to say a couple words about the high winds that we're expecting in the air quality. The South Coast Air Quality Management District has issued a wind-blown dust advisory due to the strong winds that we're going to see starting this afternoon. High winds may disperse the ashes from the Palisades, Eaton, and other fire burn scars. Wind-blown ash from burned structures may contain higher air toxic levels. If you see the ash, take precautions to reduce your exposure. If you're in the area that's impacted by the ash, you should wear proper respiratory masks, such as an N95 or a P100 mask, to help protect you. These masks are specifically designed to reduce the exposure to harmful fine particles found in the ash and smoke, which can penetrate deep into your lungs and cause serious health problems. And remember, ash is not just dirt, it's hazardous fine dust that can irritate or harm your respiratory system and other parts of your body where it lands. Also note that cloth masks, medical masks like the regular blue ones, bandanas, they do not provide adequate protection against ash and fine particles. They're not designed to filter out these hazardous materials. You really need to wear an N95 or a P100 if you're seeing the ash in your area to protect yourself. In closing, I want to once again express our deepest gratitude to the first responders who've shown incredible bravery and dedication during this crisis. Their tireless efforts are nothing short of heroic, and we're deeply thankful for their service. At Public Health, we remain committed to providing support to all those who are affected by this tragedy, whether through guidance, resources, or community collaboration. We're with you during these challenging times. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce LA County Board of Supervisors Chair Catherine Barger.
Thank you. It has been 7 days since my constituents' lives were devastated by the Eaton fire. 7 days. At the most recent in-person community meeting we held for Eaton fire survivors, we had hundreds of people attend. Also, more than 50,000 people joined on live stream. This speaks to the scale and impact of this devastation. All eyes are on FEMA at this moment. We know, value, and appreciate FEMA's partnership. They are the agency who is there for people in their time of darkest need. It is of the utmost importance that we be very clear about what support and help FEMA can realistically provide. For wildfire survivors, they need nothing less than clear and transparent answers about how they will be supported through the recovery process. I want to thank Bob Fenton, FEMA Administrator for Region 9, for being here today. I thank you for speaking to my constituents so they can plan the way forward. I also want to make sure survivors know disaster resource centers open today. Disaster resource centers are staffed by local, state, and federal officials who are there to help those impacted by these fires. The east side location is Pasadena City College Community Education Center, located at 3035 East Foothill Boulevard in Pasadena. The west side location is UCLA Research Park West, 10850 West Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles. Both locations will be open from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. today, and then starting tomorrow morning and moving forward, they will open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Details can be found at recovery.lacounty.gov. With that, I'd like to turn it over to LA City Mayor Karen Bass.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Barger. Let me just say that yesterday, as the chief mentioned, we did an aerial tour, and I was able to see, it's one thing to see it on television. It's another thing to see it from air. The massive, massive destruction is unimaginable until you actually see it. So I think of the families, I think of the community members that have experienced that, and I just have to say that we are going to continue to stand with you. But while we're preparing for the next couple of days, we also want to move into the time when we prepare for moving forward in rebuilding, but making sure that we can get people's lives back in whole. I have to say that when the aerial tour was finished, and I had an opportunity to speak to the firefighters, including our chief, firefighters who've been on the job for 25, 30 years, to say to me that in their entire careers, they have never seen destruction like this. They have never seen wind so fierce. In Los Angeles and California, we don't know hurricanes. But imagining a dry hurricane and thinking about what they went through and their lives on the line. From the air, we could see people on the ground clearing brush and doing everything that they needed to prevent the next tragedy. So everybody wants to know how to help first responders. Well, the way you can help first responders, and you've heard this from other speakers, is to be prepared. So if you hear that your area is under a warning, then get packed right away. If the order is to evacuate, then evacuate immediately. But as was recommended earlier, evacuate if you have the warning, because if you remember a few days ago when the fires were at its worst, people had difficulty getting through traffic. So thinking of moving forward, yesterday I signed an executive directive to begin to lay the foundation policy-wise for the rebuilding effort. We're going to make it through these next few days, but we want to begin to think about how we rebuild the massive destruction that I saw from the air. We don't want people burdened by red tape and bureaucracy. So my executive directive addresses that. It addresses streamlining the debris removal. It talks about actually immediate action that we can take to make 1,400 units of housing available immediately. Again, that was stuck in the process, but given what we're dealing with now, that process has to go. And then establishing a framework to secure additional regulatory relief and resources. As was mentioned, the assistance centers will start today. The first ever disaster recovery center for victims of the Palisades and Hertz fires will open, which will help people who have lost vital records, birth certificates, driver's license, Social Security, etc. Help those who have experienced loss or damage to their homes apply for disaster relief loans and provide referrals. We heard the public health officer say that nurses will be available at the disaster recovery centers, but also mental health counselors will be as well. So for more information, you can go to LACity.gov. So the center opens at 1 p.m. this afternoon at the UCLA Research Park, and starting tomorrow will be open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m., 7 days a week. And that's a commitment that every single day we will be addressing people putting their lives back together. So I want to thank UCLA Chancellor Julio Frank. I want to thank Gary Michelson. The South Coast Air Quality Management District is recommending that Angelenos wear the well-fitting medical-grade mask while outside. The City of Los Angeles has distributed hundreds of N95 masks throughout Los Angeles in public libraries, recreation centers, and senior centers, and local nonprofits, and we encourage families to pick up their masks today. And finally, I want to acknowledge the thousands of Angelenos who have come together all across the city to help. I'm sure you've seen on the nightly news, hundreds, thousands of people just showing up who are providing resources and supplies for victims. But I also want to thank Disney, Netflix, the Wasserman Foundation, Hilton Foundation, Annenberg, SNAP, and so many others for donating millions of dollars to relief efforts. The California Community Foundation's effort has resulted in $14 million and over 20,000 donors. LA, we stand together. We will do what we need to do to be safe over the next couple of days, and then we rebuild. We will rebuild Los Angeles and make Los Angeles the world-class city that we are. And with that, let me introduce Supervisor Lindsay Horvath.
Thank you very much. As you heard, the Palisades fire updates include 5,100 personnel in the Palisades alone. We are giving this fire everything we've got. This is a particularly dangerous situation from now through tomorrow. The strongest winds will be this evening, and we ask everyone to get prepared now to evacuate. The libraries in Los Angeles County have FEMA staff available until 5 p.m. to provide assistance. If you have received a denial on the FEMA website, do not get discouraged. Come to one of these locations in person to get help. Our disaster recovery centers, as you have heard, are open from 1 to 8 p.m. today at UCLA Research Park West and Pasadena City College as well. LA Department of Public Health is providing medication access assistance at the disaster recovery centers starting today for those who lost medication in the fires. All Santa Monica, Malibu Unified School District schools, Malibu schools will remain closed. All Santa Monica campuses will be open today. I've been in touch with Santa Monica Mayor Lana Negretti this morning, and she is closely monitoring the situation. Topanga Post Office has been relocated to Santa Monica Post Office. Residents can pick up their mail at 1653 7th Street. For more recovery information, go to recovery.lacounty.gov, which is launched and making improvements, adding resources each and every day to provide the assistance you need and deserve. With regard to power and public health updates, over 20,000 households are facing power outages due to public safety power shutoffs. Please take this moment now to charge your phones, your batteries and devices to make sure you have backup. We'll work to restore cellular access, but know you may be without power. Please plan ahead. Tune in to radio, given some of the power outages that we're predicting. Please use your resources. It is unlikely that power will be restored in the Topanga area during the red flag conditions, so please be prepared. Los Angeles County Department of Public Health is providing N95 masks at all LA County libraries. Do not drink water warnings for Waterworks District 29. Please know that bottled water is being distributed at Malibu Equestrian Park. Do not drink water warning for 90272 zip code and the area north of San Vicente. Bottled water is being distributed for this region at the Westwood Recreation Center and adjacent to the Brentwood Country Club. Our LA County emergency proclamation will be ratified at our board meeting later today. This cuts red tape for the county to provide resources as well as to receive state and federal assistance. It prevents price gouging. This includes on rent and housing options, which we know have been impacting people's ability to have shelter. It also includes other ways people are taking advantage of this disaster, and these will not be tolerated. This proclamation also declares a local health emergency to ensure continuity of critical health services and ensures continuity of education for our displaced students. It also creates opportunities to secure financial support and resources for those impacted. To stay informed about the emergency, you can go to emergency.lacounty.gov for the latest updates. And I want to echo the gratitude for all those who are on the front lines, as well as their families who are supporting them, waiting for that call. We are giving them all of the support that we have to ensure they come home safely. We are grateful to the volunteers who are showing up, as well as for the additional proclamation by our Governor, Gavin Newsom, expanding a special session to provide $1 billion to augment the FEMA response, as well as $1.5 billion to bolster state preparedness efforts. We are in constant communication with the White House, Congress, and our state legislature. All levels of government are aligned to support our community members. We especially appreciate FEMA being on the ground to provide assistance, and together we will rebuild. FEMA Administrator? Next up, FEMA Administrator, Region 9, Robert Fenton, Jr.
Please pay attention to Mr. Fenton's information. It's important.
Well, thank you. Just first, I'd like to talk about some of the actions that we're doing to support LA County, LA City, and all the communities impacted. Our first area is focusing on the response and making sure that all the resources are here that are needed to support the firefighting and ensuring that we're reimbursing all the costs incurred with that effort at 100% as the President directed. The second area we're focused on is really helping those individuals that have been impacted by this fire, and that's really where I want to focus my comments in the discussion today. FEMA's assistance is now available for individuals and households impacted by the fires within the LA County area. FEMA has expedited delivery of serious needs assistance. We've already had over 40,000 applications and provided over $8 million. The serious needs assistance is a one-time payment program to help survivors cover costs such as water, food, infant formula, gas, etc., that you may have had since having to be evacuated for the fire. Other forms of FEMA assistance include help with transportation costs, medical bills, personal property, and even, unfortunately for some, funeral costs. FEMA will also help with temporary housing, which includes rental assistance, hotel rooms, and other resources, home repairs, and displacement assistance. I encourage every head of household to apply to FEMA assistance. Not every member of the family has to apply, just the head of the household. And if you're renters, where there's multiple renters for a property, as long as you're each on our renters, you could each apply individually. If you have been evacuated and received damages from this fire, go ahead and register at the disasterassistance.gov website. You could call us at 1-800-621-3362, or you can use the FEMA app to register. If you are affected by the fires and have insurance, you should contact your insurance company and file a claim first before coming to FEMA. After you receive your settlement, contact FEMA if you have unmet needs. You need to submit your insurance documentation to receive any FEMA assistance beyond the serious needs assistance if you were insured. FEMA assistance is not a substitute for insurance and cannot cover all the losses caused by disaster. FEMA assistance is intended to really cover your basic needs and help jumpstart the recovery process. Thankfully, to recent legislation, now changes have occurred that allow FEMA to assist those that are underinsured. However, our maximum grants are $43,600, and there's two different categories for those. So that is the maximum assistance we can provide. There's other federal agencies, such as SBA, that could do low-interest loans, and there'll be other forms of assistance to help with some of those unmet needs. We have FEMA staff at various sites across the community to help you apply for FEMA assistance, and are embedded in the first two local disaster recovery centers opening today at 1 p.m. Again, if you're going to go to the recovery center and seek assistance from FEMA with your application, I'd ask that you start the process and register online so our individuals can help you with your application and bring your registration number and any identification you have. I'm working closely with the state of California and local partners to assess the ongoing situation and determine what other FEMA support may be most effective to the communities that have been impacted by this fire. One of the things I wanted to address, and the sheriff talked a little bit about it earlier, is fraud. And unfortunately, we see it common after disasters. Why we hope the best from people. Unfortunately, there's some out there that have other objectives in mind. And so please go ahead, and if you hear of fraud, communicate it. Anyone representing FEMA will give you identification if they are talking to you about your application. And we recently launched a rumor webpage on our disasterassistance.gov webpage, and you could go into it and just search common rumors, and there's a list of rumors that are out there right now. I just want to address a couple of those. One of them is that we will provide vouchers to help you with housing. All the assistance we provide is financial assistance, and it'll be directly deposited into your account. So we don't provide vouchers. There may be other organizations, nonprofits, that may provide some type of voucher, but we don't at FEMA. Another rumor was that we will cover 100% of the uninsured costs. Again, we provide up to 2 grants at $43,600 is the maximum assistance we can provide. The state, if you receive a max grant, adds $10,000 to that. There's other federal agencies that can provide assistance above that, but we will only help those that are underinsured, and we can't duplicate benefits from those that are insured. The 100% in the President's declaration was specific to emergency costs for fighting the fire and for the debris removal, which we'll be focusing on in the days ahead, as the mayor outlined in some of her executive orders. And then everyone needs to go ahead and submit an application in order to receive assistance, and needs to make sure they have a registration number, and if you need help, you should go to those recovery centers. Lastly, we continue to financially support all the costs associated with the response to the fires, and we have every federal agency here with us available to support any needs that the state, the county, or the local communities affected in the city have. With that, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, and Chair Catherine Barger thanks the following elected officials for being here today, showing up and showing their support. We have Los Angeles County Supervisor by the 1st District, Hilda Solis, Los Angeles County Supervisor of the 2nd District, Holly J. Mitchell, Congressman George Whitesides, and State Senator Sasha Renee Perez. This is the end of our press briefing. We will do one-on-one briefings. There will be a press gaggle for City Mayor over here on my left, and for other one-on-ones, please approach and we will connect you to the appropriate speaker. Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of the briefing for them. I wanted to point out all of the buildings that were existing alongside the coastline. Notice all those buildings that are no longer there? Some of them are commercial restaurants, but the majority of those buildings were homes sitting on the seashore. They're no longer existent. Now, some may wonder why some of those homes and buildings are still standing, while the others are not. That is a very good question. I will address this more tonight. I promise I will address this same issue tonight. I want to make it very clear. I believe this is very urgent. I believe it's very urgent to understand why some of these buildings are no longer standing. Everybody needs to understand what's going on. Okay, I want to make it very clear. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that the government is responsible for some of this. The government, I believe, is responsible for some of this treachery, in my opinion. And yes, I believe it is treachery. Treasonous treachery. Purposely starting fires to kill people. Okay? That's what I believe it is. We saw it happen in Maui. We saw it happen in Paradise, California a few years ago. I believe they've done it again. I want to make that firmly known. I believe they've done it again. And I believe they're going to do it again and again and again as long as we allow them to do it. Okay? I want to make that known right now. Now, with this as it is, I've got some more comments to talk to you about in just a second here. These are very important. This is very important information, guys. So I would ask you all to please stand by for this information. Please also pass this information on to everybody that you know. I believe it's very important. Okay? As I said, I don't trust the government. I want to make it very clear, I do not trust the government at all. Okay? You need to know that. There was a time in my life, during my career, that I did trust the government. But I no longer trust them at all. Okay? And there's reason for it. When the government tells you something, and they tell it to you numerous times, it could be different information. But when the government tells you something and it is not true, you start losing faith in what they're talking about. And that's exactly what I'm talking about right now. I want to make it known. Okay? And yes, I am being honest, guys. Someone just said, thank you for being honest. Now, please also here, if you make comments here in the chat, please do not have all capitals. That's important. Why? Because YouTube looks at it as if you're yelling. So, Tony, I'm leaving up your comment because one word, actually, two words were not all capitalized. Okay? Two words were not all capitalized. Please do not use all capitals. Again, YouTube will remove those comments if you do. I've seen it happen. Some of my associates, including NCWQ Rebecca here on the chat. She's not here right now, but she has been. She's one of our mods. She has her own channel. Some YouTube people came on her chat and removed people who put all capitals in their chat. Don't do it. A few years ago when I had my first channel here that had 25,000 subscribers when YouTube removed them, YouTube came on the chat as YouTube moderators, and anything that YouTube didn't like, they took the chat person off, and they were not able to come back on. Because once YouTube takes you off, you're gone. You can't come back. So please be careful with that. Now, Charlene is making a statement here on the chat. FEMA is not able to pay for the magnitude of this disaster. Very true. FEMA right now is nearly insolvent. Okay? The Federal Emergency Management Agency here in the United States is almost insolvent. Now, back in October going into November, I spoke to Mike Johnson, Congressman Mike Johnson. He's a Speaker of the House of Representatives right now. When I spoke to him, he was still House Representative and Speaker. When I spoke to him, he said he was allocating $30 billion more to FEMA so FEMA could pass it on to people in North Carolina. I do not believe that FEMA ever passed that on. I want to make that clear. I do not believe FEMA passed that money on to people in North Carolina. People in North Carolina are hurting. They're hurting bad. I spoke to Samaritan's Purse yesterday afternoon. I sent them another donation from all of you. I will continue that. I will continue that, passing the information on to them. I want to make sure they have money to be able to pass on to the people here in North Carolina. If you yourselves call Samaritan's Purse and you're here in the United States, you can call them on the phone. I made my original donations online. I called them to verify that they'd gotten it. You have to wait 24 hours to verify that they got it, and you call them back again. But in my case, what I did, I sent the money online to them. That goes into a general fund. If you want money to be allocated to people here in North Carolina, on the mountain range in North Carolina, you have to do it on the telephone. You have to do it on the telephone. And then you tell them to earmark the money for the North Carolina hurricane victims. Tell them to earmark the money for North Carolina hurricane victims. Then that money will go to people in North Carolina. Linda Covington is saying Jake Sullivan is telling us something we need to know. Linda, I will talk about that this afternoon, later this afternoon when we come back on the air. But, folks, we need to help ourselves. Bella Virgo's here in the chat right now from England. People need to help themselves a little in case of emergency. And I'm going to echo that statement. We need to help ourselves. Canadian Patriot 1 Dave from Canada's here in the chat. He's saying he's repeating exactly what I've said in the past. The money that Biden allocated again to Ukraine on Friday. Biden sent another $30 million to Ukraine on Friday. Ukraine is nothing more than a money laundering operation for the Biden administration. For the Biden administration, the Biden family. I'm going to call them the Biden crime family. the Biden crime family, guys. That's exactly what that money went to. Yes, it got shipped over to Ukraine, but Ukraine, Zelensky, reallocates that back to Biden himself. That means our tax money that the Biden administration has sent to Ukraine is funneled back to Joseph Robinette Biden and his family. Okay? You need to understand that. Now, Janet Blackwood is here in the chat. She says this is an organized plan. I have people who live in Santa Monica. Janet, I have friends and family also in Los Angeles, Santa Monica, the Pacific Palisades, Brentwood, and all over Los Angeles. I have friends and family living all over Los Angeles. Now, folks, this is important. I ask you all to please pay attention to what I'm saying. Okay? If you're coming to this chat right now, or coming to this program watching it right now, please stay here. The information I'm going to pass on to you is very, very important. Catherine Sigurdsson said, should I sell everything and start walking to the NWT? No. Please do not sell everything and move. I'm not asking you to do that. What I am asking you to do is pay attention to what we're saying here. Okay? Brenda Childers says the government was too broke before Thanksgiving break as well. Oh, yeah. They want to even think or make us think that they're broke. They're not. They're not broke. Before Christmas, the House of Representatives and the Senate put together a 1,500-page legal brief sent to the White House for signature. It didn't make it. Why did that bill not make it to the White House? Because it was full of pork. Full of pork. Full of crap. Like giving Washington, D.C. money to build another sports stadium. Yes, that also was in that bill. It was taken out. It was not approved. There's other money also given to favorite projects from various places throughout the United States that was also not approved. The House of Representatives and the Senate met together again, and they put out a bill that was only 100 pages, without all that pork in it. 100 pages of a legal bill sent to the White House for signature, and President Biden signed it. Please understand, me as a person, and all of you here in the United States and elsewhere, and yes, people from outside the United States watch this program. What happens in the United States also will affect you. What happens here in the United States will affect you as well. Please pay attention to me. I don't want you to leave this program. Everybody that's here needs to hear what I have to say. It's very important. Christine Zagorski, I'm sorry, I butchered your name, Christine. Christine Zagorski says, please share this podcast. I ask you all to do that. And not just share this podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to this podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to the Emergency Management Associates podcast here on YouTube. And when you do that, there's something else you need to do. There's a little bell icon. There's a little bell icon. Click on that bell icon. When you click on that bell icon, a drop-down menu of 3 items will appear. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. Note this. YouTube does not notify everybody when we come on the air. but I'm telling you right now. Normally, we come on the air between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. Now, given this is an international podcast, you may not understand time zones, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Several of my mods, well, one of my mods lives in the east of England. Several other people that monitor this podcast live literally all over the world. We had total vagabonds from Ireland here last night. We have several people from Ireland, one person from Wales. We have 10 people here from Scandinavia. Yes, 10 people from Scandinavia. We've had people from the Czech Republic here. We've had people from Romania here. We have people from South America, Central America, Mexico, Canada, Australia, Japan, Indonesia, and New Zealand here. This is truly an international podcast. Now, I want you to understand what's going on here. I want you to understand something very important. Not only are we an international podcast, but we believe in God as well. We believe in God as well. Now, as Christine just put here in the chat, you need to cover your butts. She said cover your bottoms. You need to cover your butts. And then cover your soul. Why am I saying that? Two different things here. Two distinct, very different things here. Total Vagabonds is here from Ireland. Thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate you very much. Now, understand this. You need to prepare. We talk about emergency preparedness on this podcast all the time. Literally all the time. Specifically, we talk about preparedness on Fridays. We talk about preparedness on Preparedness Friday. But we talk about preparedness all the time throughout the week. Okay? We do that. But something else you need to know. You need to pray. You need to pray and ask the Lord what He would like you to do. Pray and ask the Lord Himself what He would want you to do. When you pray, you need to specifically ask the Lord what He wants you to do. Very specifics. Don't hedge and haw. Don't pray in vague generalities. Pray specifically what you would like Him to give you. What He would want you to have. That's important. That is covering your soul. Now, there's something else to go along with prayer. And I said this a few weeks ago in my Sunday school class. When you pray, you need to have real intent. Praying with real intent shows the Lord that you're very intent on what you're asking. You're praying with real intent to the Lord. 2, you need to be sincere. The Lord does not want to have somebody that just prays in generalities and gives a prayer very quickly and gets up and walks away. You can't do that. Yes, the Lord hears and answers prayers. But what I have found in my own personal life, and I've seen other people have success in their prayers as well, is when you pray, ask the Lord, Heavenly Father. Address Him as Heavenly Father. 2nd, thank Him for your blessings. The Lord wants us to be having real intent, having faith. Also, being as a small child, sincere and honest. This is also important. Linda Covington also says, fast and pray. I agree. If you really want answers, you're going to ask the Lord sincerely. Coming to Him with a very content heart. That's what the Lord wants. Then ask Him specifically what you would like Him to help you with. That's important. That's important. Now, cover your butts and cover your souls. Now, tonight I will talk more about the people in North Carolina. But now I'm talking about the people in Los Angeles. And yes, what I'm going to talk about now can affect even those of you outside the country, outside the United States. Right now, there are 7,000 plus firefighters working on the fire lines in Los Angeles. Firefighters from around the world. Firefighters from England. Firefighters from Scandinavia. Firefighters from Canada. Firefighters from Mexico. Firefighters from South America, New Zealand, and Australia. And some firefighters from Japan. Over 7,000 firefighters are in Los Angeles on the fire line. That's one of the reasons right now that we have 33% containment of the Pacific Palisades fire. 33% containment of the Palisades fire. There's 76% containment of the Hearst fire. There's 38% containment of the Eaton fire. There have been 5 fire deaths in the Pacific Palisades fire. There have been 16 other deaths in the Eaton fire. Now, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department and Los Angeles County Coroner's Office are in the Pacific Palisades today, going through the carnage there, looking for people that may not have made it out of the fire. They're looking for those bodies. They have cadaver dogs as well. Yes, Rebecca, the Hearst fire is a Sylmar fire. Now, the Sheriff's Office and the County Coroner's Office have cadaver dogs. They're going through the fire line right now, as we speak. Now, the fire line is huge. I've shown you pictures of the fire line. I've shown you pictures of the different fires. It's huge. Now, I truly believe in law enforcement. For the most part, law enforcement has never lied to me. Law enforcement has never lied to me. And I don't think they're going to start lying. But this is what you need to know. Repopulation of the area where the fires decimated the landscape is not going to happen until all of the fires are out. Repopulation in this area will not happen until all of the fires are out. Meaning, the people whose homes are left standing there in the Pacific Palisades, the Eaton fire, the Hearst fire, will not be able to return until the fire is out. We showed you, I should say KCAL, KCAL TV in Los Angeles, CBS affiliate, at the end of the broadcast, showed us homes along the coastline, that have been left standing. Those people that are there are still not able to repopulate their homes until the authorities release that property. The authorities cannot release that property until they've gone through the wreckage to make sure there are no bodies that were left in the fire area. Tony's here in the chat saying not many will rebuild without insurance. You're right. You're right. There are celebrities, though, that have a lot of money. Those celebrities may rebuild, but there are also people in the fire area that were not celebrities and do not have a lot of money. Okay? You need to understand that. I know many celebrities that their homes are incinerated. Charlene is saying scorch dreams, lives, and livelihoods and family pets. Yes, family pets, some were left there by the owners. Some family pets were left there with the family intending on coming back that evening. The Pacific Palisades fire started at 10:30 a.m. A lot of people that lived in Pacific Palisades were working, and they were not able to go back to their homes and rescue their pets. Some of them tried. Some of them were very successful in rescuing their pets. Others were not so lucky. Hurricane Heather's here in the chat. Thank you, Hurricane Heather, for being here. Some of the uber rich are very angry. I agree. Very angry. And they have reason to be angry. I believe that some of the fires were set. I believe some of the fires were set intentionally. And I'll be talking more about that tonight. But again, repopulation to the fire area will not happen until the fire is out, until authorities can comb through the wreckage to look for people that died in the fires. Please understand that. Missy says to heck with the celebrities. The celebrities are people too. The celebrities are people too. They have feelings just like you and I. Yes, some of the celebrities are arrogant. True. But not all of them. Now please understand this. Juju Philly's here, saying law enforcement personnel just don't lie. Her son is a police officer. I'm a retired police officer. I put in 24 years in service. Now, please understand this. Those of you that live in Los Angeles or anywhere else, do not silence your emergency alerts on your phone. Do not silence your emergency alerts on your phone. Don't do it. Those emergency alerts in Los Angeles save lives. The alerts in Los Angeles save lives. It's true. Yes, they had some problems with some of the alert notices. But that's going to happen. That's going to happen with any kind of technology. But I'm asking all of you, do not silence your emergency alerts. Those emergency alerts are very helpful. Those emergency alerts can save your lives. Missy says they're going to fill in the landfills. Yes, you're right. That's the other thing the authorities are going to do. They're going to comb through the wreckage. they're going to bulldoze the wreckage. And they're going to take the incinerated parts of the wreckage to landfills. You're absolutely right. And yes, right now, it looks like World War III in the wreckage. I'm just going to tell you like it is. I've seen the devastation in the fires. Every time there's a major fire like this, we see it. They say they're going to repopulate the area. I believe they're going to. But that's another story, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Now, as Mayor Bass said, they're going to rebuild. They're going to rebuild, but they have to remove the debris. They have to remove the debris just like they did in Maui. Just like they did in Paradise, California. They're still removing debris in Maui. Why? Because the residents lived in Maui, in Lahaina, were not given the opportunity to go through where their home was. Because the Governor Green of Hawaii, and the mayor. Now, right now, I can't remember the mayor's name in Maui. But the mayor and Governor Green tried to prevent the citizens from going back to where they lived. They had their National Guard soldiers there to prevent people from going in. And when they were actually allowed to go back in, the governor and the mayor had specific times that people could come in. They had specific times for different neighborhoods. And sometimes they were still not allowed to come in. Why? Because the mayor and the governor of Hawaii wanted to institute these 15-minute new cities. I believe that's one of the reasons that they're doing what they're doing in Los Angeles. They want to repopulate Los Angeles their own way. Okay? That's what I believe is happening. Brenda Childers has a comment here in the chat saying, how will the movie stars go from $1 million footage of a home to a condominium? It's doubtful. It's a gruesome place. Now, they may not go to a condominium. Some celebrities, I know for a fact, live in condominiums. Other celebrities don't. And they probably never will. They either will rebuild over where they have property, or they will build a new place someplace else. Again, I will address the rebuilding of Los Angeles tonight and in ongoing programs here. Now, when it comes to Los Angeles County, I want to tell you this. Los Angeles County is providing opportunities for people who lost paperwork. They lost their IDs. They lost their insurance paperwork. They lost their medical identifications. They lost their prescriptions. Los Angeles County is opening up the libraries. They're opening up the libraries so you can go to the libraries starting at 1 o'clock today. And from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through, actually, for the next while, it's going to be 7 days a week. 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week until further notice. So people can go to those libraries and try to reobtain driver's licenses, social security cards, and also obtain prescription medication. You can also go to your local hospitals, local doctors, to rewrite your prescriptions, to take to your pharmacies to get those prescriptions refilled. Walgreens Pharmacy in Los Angeles is doing that without prescriptions. Those of you in Los Angeles can go to Walgreens Pharmacy and tell them you have a prescription. and they will refill your prescription without a prescription necessary. Okay? That's what's going on there. Now, Los Angeles County is also providing N95 and N100 masks for free to the public at the libraries. Again, Los Angeles County is providing free N100 and N95 masks to the public until further notice at the Los Angeles County libraries. Now, you heard the FEMA director talk here. As he was saying, you need to be a head of household to apply for FEMA assistance. If you own property with many other people, each of you can file for FEMA assistance because you own the same property. But you need to be head of household for the most part in order to apply for FEMA assistance. Make sure when you go to the libraries or go to the FEMA assistance centers, they're called disaster recovery centers. Disaster recovery centers have been open today, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific time. But you need to have all your documents in order. All of your documents in order to get assistance. Now, the FEMA director in Region 9 in California said this: there is a maximum grant, meaning money that you don't have to pay back to the government. A maximum grant of $43,000. A maximum grant of $43,000 per person. Now, there may be up to 2 grants. There may be a possibility of having 2 grants available, but each grant is worth $43,000. Now, Hurricane Heather is saying here in the chat, and Hurricane Heather, I agree, you may get only $776. Those of you who are in the disaster area, you may get an initial grant of only $776, and you may get only that. I'm just being honest with you. That's what happens. That's what happened in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. FEMA only offered them $776 per person, one time. What does that cover? Almost nothing. That basically covers food, that covers any medical needs that you may have, and it may cover getting some clothes, but that's just about it. It's not going to cover monthly expenses. It's just not. $776 doesn't go very far. It just doesn't. But I'm warning you right now. Some of you may only get $776, and that's all. But $776 is better than nothing. Okay? I feel that it is abhorrent to only give people that kind of money. Biden has already authorized FEMA to pay for all firefighting costs in Los Angeles. It's unreal. And yes, Heather, the people here in North Carolina could do amazing things with $43,000. Hold on a second. Emergency management, Ron? Hello? Dadgum sales call for insurance. It said California with a different California number, so I thought it might be something important. It wasn't. Bella Virgo is asking, is the airport in Los Angeles still being affected by the fire? The answer is yes. There are a few flights coming in and a few flights leaving. but it depends on where the smoke is. If the smoke comes back towards, and you need to understand where the LA airport is. It's near the coastline. The Los Angeles International Airport is near the coastline. So if the winds are coming out of the desert like these Santa Ana winds do, if they're coming in off the desert, it's blowing the smoke over towards the coastline again, over the airport. And if the planes can't see, the planes will not land and they will not take off. So yes, the airport is being affected. Lynn is asking, where is all this money coming from? Can you say Joe Biden? Joe Biden? Like I said, guys, FEMA has money. Again, Mike Johnson from Arkansas, the Speaker of the House, back in November, before the present budget came out, he authorized $70 billion to be reallocated to FEMA to help the people here in North Carolina. Guess what? FEMA sat on its hands here in North Carolina, and now FEMA's left. As of Friday, FEMA is no longer paying the citizens here in North Carolina that were affected by the hurricane. No longer paying for the housing costs. Some people were given hotels to stay in until they could find some other resolution to their housing problem. As of Friday, that money's come to an end. They're out on the streets. They're out on the streets. And yes, air quality is a problem in Los Angeles. Hurricane Heather says that song's going to be in her head all day. That's in my head every day. There's a reason. I love that song. Roberta Flack did a great job when she put that song together back in the 70s. Anyway, now, Bella Virgo is saying the LA area is going to smell like a bonfire for months, if not years. You're right. Because every time the wind comes up, whether the fire is actually burning or not, every time the wind comes up, it's going to blow ash. It's going to blow the residue of the fire over all of Los Angeles. So all of Los Angeles will smell like a campfire for quite some time. Linda Cunningham says the IRS agents are going to be busy. 144,000 new agents. Well, guess what? President Trump takes the presidency on next Monday. 6 days from now. Actually, 5 days and 22 hours from now. 5 days and 22 hours from now, he takes office. He's already said that those 144,000 agents will no longer have a job. If they have a job, they'll go elsewhere to other agencies. The IRS will probably just be dismantled sometime within the next couple of years. President Trump has no use for the IRS. Anyway, the IRS is a bunch of hooligans anyway. I can tell you stories about my father after my mother died in 1991. Incredible. But I'm not going to do that right now. It has no place with what we're talking about now. But again, your max assistance from FEMA could be as much as $43,000 and could be actually 2 different grants. Okay? Other agencies, including the Small Business Administration and others, could also be a source of additional income. You need to apply for that income. You need to look online for income and see where it applies. Excuse me. See where it applies for additional money from the federal government. And also the state of California also has money that you might be able to request. Okay? Again, FEMA is paying for all of the firefighting costs in California at this point in time. All costs of fighting the fire in California are going to be paid by FEMA. The boss in D.C. told us that last week. Okay? Charlene is asking, could martial law in L.A., California be invoked as we witness folks non-compliant with law enforcement requests? Staying out of the areas, lighting up torches, civil potential unrest, no resources? Yeah. Martial law could be instituted. You're right. But right now, as you've heard the sheriff and the Los Angeles police chief say in almost every briefing that we've ever shown you here, I mean, I should say all briefings that we've shown you here on this channel, the police and the sheriff are making arrests in the fire area. If you don't belong in the fire area, don't go there. Don't go there. Gang members have somehow found their way into the fire areas. And they found the gang members trying to loot and burglarize homes in the fire area. Like I said, there are homes that are still vacant because the LA police and the LA County and city are not allowing anyone into the fire area at all. It's a crime scene. The fire area in Los Angeles County is a crime scene right now. I'm going to be straight up with you. The area is a crime scene. That is why they're not allowing anybody into the fire area. Okay? Yes, they could invoke martial law. Arrests have been made. 30 people have been arrested. 30 people have been arrested already. One person was arrested on Friday. He was arrested with under citizen's arrest power by 3 civilians who caught this guy with a blowtorch trying to start a fire. The 3 citizens tackled the individual. They took wire ties and put his hands behind his back and called the police to take him away. When the police arrived, they did not arrest him on the charge of trying to start a fire. They did arrest him for violation of probation on the same charge. He'd been put in prison for trying to start fires before. So they reinstated him back into prison for trying to start fires. So yes, in a way, he wasn't arrested on the charge the citizens wanted him arrested for. But he was rearrested for trying to start fires. Violation of probation. But 30 people have been arrested. Gang members mostly. Trying to burglarize homes, loot homes, and loot the fire area. Now, they have had some success in finding bodies in the debris. Like I said, they have cadaver dogs there in the area. Both LAPD, various other police departments, and the sheriff's offices in that area. It's not just the Los Angeles County Sheriff that's there. Other law enforcement organizations all over the United States and California have offered their services in the fire area. There's thousands of law enforcement officers there in Los Angeles now, all jurisdictions throughout the United States. There are firefighters from around the world there in the fire area trying to help put out that fire. And they're doing a marvelous job. They're doing an absolutely marvelous job, and I commend them for their efforts. Now, I want to pay tribute to all of them. Some of them have been working 24-hour shifts. Some of them have been working 24-hour shifts, firefighters and police. They're now working 12-hour shifts on and off. They've got enough law enforcement agents to work 12-hour shifts. 12-hour shifts are very hard. I work 12-hour shifts myself. Now, do you have any questions for me? Also, I might also say this too. Besides the firefighters on the ground, both in trucks and hand crews in the fire areas, and the police also that I said have been working 12-hour shifts. I want to also give recognition to the firefighting people in planes and helicopters. By law, they are only allowed to fly helicopters and planes for only 8 hours. When their 8 hours is up, they fly back to the base at airports all over the LA and Orange County areas, land their planes, and new crews pick up where they left off. So it's not just the firefighting crews on the ground, but in the air as well. May God bless you all. We love you. I used to live in Southern California myself in San Diego. My own son was a firefighter as well. He's not a firefighter now. But I appreciate his service and everybody's service around the world. God bless you all. God bless all our first responders. You guys are very wonderful, honest people with integrity, and we love and appreciate you. Now, yes, and some people just want to get a photo for PR. Yeah, they can go to heck. If you don't belong in the fire area, you don't live in the fire area, you stay away. Stay away. And even then, after everything's over, after the fires are out, after the authorities have gone through the debris, only families are going to be allowed to be in the area. Only families that lived in the area are going to be allowed to go back in. And already, there are National Guard soldiers stationed all over the fire areas to make sure the only people that live there can go back there. Period. End of discussion. I want to make that very clear. Now, do you all have any questions of me? Yes, missionaries that live in the Los Angeles area have been evacuated. All missionaries who lived in the Los Angeles area have been evacuated to safe places. No missionaries have been hurt. No missionaries have been hurt. Thanks for that, Heather. God bless you for that. Do any of you have any questions? Yes, BlackRock Investing and other people, even that were involved with Maui, they are going to be on hold. They're going to be on hold, Charlene, because we all know what's been going on. We all know what's been going on. BlackRock and other companies won't be allowed to go in there. That's why Lahaina has not been reestablished. It's not been repopulated. Because the people rose up and said, no, you're not going to do that. That's also what's going to happen in Los Angeles, even though the city and county of Los Angeles is in on it. The city and county of Los Angeles is in on it. I believe they knew what's going on, and they were part of starting the fires. They wanted to establish these 50-minute cities. I believe that. Does anyone have any questions for me? Heidi Patrick, you're a wonderful lady. Thank you for being part of our program. Thank you for helping recognize all of the people here and recognizing our mods as well. I also want to put out a shout out to our mods. We have probably the finest mods in YouTube history, in my opinion. We have the finest mods in YouTube history. You help us keep this program on the air. I want to let you all know how much I love and appreciate you. You're great. Tony also says insurance companies were also in on it too. I believe that. I totally get that. I totally get that. And I think it's a crying shame that that's happened. And yes, and yes, the rock rolls downhill. Okay? Can we expect a major bank run? It's already happened. There have been bank runs already. Several of the banks have already issued time limits on when people can withdraw money. That's already happened. Now, Charlene is saying instant inflation as the world witnesses the fifth largest economy in the world tank out. Pretty much. Pretty much. The world is watching what happens in Los Angeles. The world is watching what is going on here in the United States. As I said, Emergency Management Associates is a worldwide podcast. Los Angeles is being watched by the entire world. And we will be broadcasting and letting you know what's going on. Okay, we will be doing that. Now again tonight, we will be back on the air about 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Why am I saying that? Because we want you to know that, number one. Number two, I am specifically going to talk about the Los Angeles fire tonight and earthquakes. I want to talk about DEW weapons that may have been part of starting the fires. I have some evidence to show that DEW weapons were used to start fires. Yes, there is some information that has become available during the last 24 hours that is telling me and others that California Edison also may have started some of these fires. And yes, there are now 3 lawsuits suing Southern California Edison for not turning off the power soon enough. California Edison is a power company over there in Los Angeles. And now they're going to be sued for not de-energizing the power lines that may have contributed to the Los Angeles fires. Okay? Now, Charlene has put this up in the chat, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Have cash at home. My wife is also helping the two of us keep cash on hand here at the house. You need to have cash on hand in your homes. You need to have cash on hand, but have it less than $10 bills. Have it be in denominations of less than $10. Why? Because during an emergency, such as we've seen in Los Angeles, stores may not be able to have money in their tills to cash a $10 or $20 bill, and certainly nothing above that. You need to have small change, $1 bills and $5 bills max. $1 bills and $5 bills max. Okay? Please notice that. This is very important. Put your money in a Ziploc bag to keep it fresh, so it's not damaged by any liquid of any kind. Put it away inside your emergency preparedness kit. We talked a lot about preparedness kits, and I may even talk about that some more tonight. Okay? Specifically for those people in Los Angeles. I have a whole list of things that the people in Los Angeles need to have. Now, if everybody in Los Angeles had been paying attention to this program throughout the years, and this April it'll be 6 years, My last channel listed for last over 5 years. Had 25,000 subscribers until the stupid YouTube channel, YouTube Venue, took me down. Because I was talking about vaccines. I was talking about COVID. And yet, now it's proven evidence that the vaccines and COVID led to people's deaths. Okay? Fact. It's a fact. And yet YouTube took my last channel down because I was trying to help people. Unreal. Unreal. Now, Tony is asking me about Japan's earthquake. USGS had it as a 6.8 earthquake. On their own website, they took it down to 6.3. With over 800 different seismograph stations reporting it. The 6.8 earthquake itself on their own website had nothing, no station reporting. That's because USGS was not adequately reporting the earthquake. They did not want anybody to know how strong that earthquake really was. After analyzing the data from the USGS itself and EMSC as well, the European agency, I believe the earthquake in southern Japan was a 7.2 to 7.8. Was between a 7.2 magnitude to a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Plain and simple. The proof is there. No, I do not believe it was a man-made earthquake. I have nothing to suggest it was a man-made earthquake, although that has happened. That has happened. But I'm telling you right now, I keep my eyes on all the data. I keep my eyes on all the data because of just that. The government interference in our lives. Yes, the government has had man-made earthquakes. Okay? It may not be directly from the United States government in Washington, D.C. However, there is evidence. There is evidence to prove that this organization right here is responsible for the Puerto Rican earthquake. Please do not put this in the chat. I never want to see this name in the chat. I do not want this channel to be removed because I mentioned the name of this facility. Back in 2019, December 26th and December 28th, 2019, that organization lit up their facility in Norway, one in Russia, and one in northwestern Australia. But they triangulated southwestern Puerto Rico, causing an 8.0 earthquake to hit southwestern Puerto Rico on December 26, 2019. 2 days later, on December 28th, they again triangulated southwestern Puerto Rico with an 8.4 magnitude earthquake. Two very major earthquakes within 2 days of each other. Man-made earthquakes. Yes, it has happened. And I proved the information with data back in 2019. Yes, that other organization started with CNN has been cranked up. We are monitoring them as well. There is not a day goes by that we're not monitoring that organization as well. Okay? We are watching it very carefully. Cowboy Roy Rogers is here. I want to thank him also for being here. I appreciate Cowboy here. He's awesome. Does anybody else have any questions for me? We have 476 people that watch this program so far, and 56 people that are still here. Folks, again, I'm going to tell you this, as I said before. Unless you watch the entirety of this program, it's not going to help you. You need to be around for the entire program. Please be around for the entire program. Please subscribe to the Emergency Management Associates program. If you enjoyed the information that we've given you, please subscribe to this program before you leave. Before I start today, we had 6,186 people subscribe to this program. Before that, we had 6,187 people that have subscribed to this program, meaning YouTube unsubscribed one person between the day before yesterday and yesterday. They do that. YouTube does not like our channel because we tell the truth. So please subscribe to this channel. Those of you that think you're subscribed, recheck your subscriptions. Make sure you're still subscribed to this channel. When you subscribe, there's something else you need to do. Click on that little bell icon. There's a little tiny bell icon. Click on that. Another drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you subscribed to our channel. We'd appreciate it. We'd appreciate it. Lynn Covington saying sending funds to Haven on the Hill, North Carolina refugee camp. That would be good. Also, you can call Samaritan's Purse. Let me give you the number of Samaritan's Purse. You can call them and make a direct donation to them. Samaritan's Purse, the telephone number for them is 828-262-1980. Again, the number to Samaritan's Purse is 828-262-1980. When you call them to make a donation, tell them you want your money earmarked for either Los Angeles fire victims or the North Carolina hurricane victims. They will do that. They will do that. Samaritan's Purse, Heather, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Samaritan's Purse is taking donations for the fire in LA too. You're absolutely right. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know I've asked that several times here, but I'm serious. Does anybody have any questions for me? I will be happy to answer questions right now. Okay, guys, if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to end this program now, and I will be coming back on the air in about 4 hours. Okay? As Charlene says here in the chat, blessings to all the firefighters, the police, and the support industries for all the aid that they've given to the people in California and North Carolina. Thank you all for that. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Hurricane Heather, salute to you as well. I want to salute all our mods as well. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you tonight at 6 p.m. or sometime after 6 p.m. this evening. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody.